you very much. I have a presentation. I'm going to try to pull it up. We'll hope the text stays with us. So if you've okay. So if you were able to attend Mid-Autumn Festival or the New Year's Festival last year, you probably heard me talk a little bit about the Arkansas Chinese Heritage Project. I really appreciate Dr. Chong and Dr. Baily giving me this opportunity to give you a brief update about what the project has been up to kind of over the last 6 months since we last met. So as a quick reminder, the Arkansas Chinese Heritage Project was founded in summer of 2023, really as a collaboration between UCA Center for Chinese Language and Culture and the Chinese Association of Arkansas, which was itself established in 1943, a testament to kind of how long Chinese communities have been gathering in Arkansas to preserve culture and celebrate their identity. The real goal of this project is to develop a community-based, multidisciplinary oral history archive that collects, preserves, and showcases the rich history of Chinese American history right here in Arkansas. Thanks to the enormous support from the Center for Chinese Language and Culture, this past spring, for the first time, we were able to offer a class in the history department on Asian American history in the South, and Arkansas in particular. Using funds from the center, we actually took a group of UCA students down to the Delta, where many Chinese communities first immigrated to our state, and where many Chinese owned and operated cash grocery stores, serving predominantly black communities in the otherwise deeply segregated rural South. Here we visited with Mayor Jeff Aoyang and visited the World War II Japanese American Heritage Museum. We traveled to the historic Chinese cemetery in Greenville, and we toured the fabulous Mississippi Delta Chinese Heritage Museum in Delta State. If you've not been there, I really encourage you to go to Cleveland, Mississippi to see it. We also welcomed community members to our classrooms. Several of the community partners on our steering committee, such as Mississippi Dunn and Ping Fong Jr. and his wife Lucy Jo Fong, came and worked directly with our students to transcribe interviews, develop archival metadata, and to share their time and stories. This culminated in a workshop that we hosted in April that attracted almost 100 community members to share stories, to learn from experts, to really sort of recover this previously neglected history. But one of the things I'm most proud of is this summer UCA was selected as an inaugural partner site and received a $30,000 grant from the Mellon Foundation to sponsor a digital storytelling initiative to film and collect the stories of mostly second-generation Chinese Arkansans who grew up in the grocery stores owned and operated by their parents. This grant allowed for us to hire 4 full-time student workers to work with a faculty associate from another institution, and to really spend all summer driving all over the Delta, listening to stories and preserving them for the future. Through this work, we were able to record 13 new life histories, over 18 hours of recorded footage. We've digitized hundreds of photographs. Several notable individuals include folks like Dr. James Sun, who currently is the Distinguished Chair of Otolaryngology at UAMS and the former personal physician of President Clinton, but who himself actually grew up in the small Arkansas town of Dermot in the 1940s. That's actually, he's the baby in the center of that bottom photo. We've traveled to places like Lake Village, Blytheville, West Memphis, and others to listen to many different stories. Now this is the part that I hope works well. Probably one of the highlights of the summer is that we traveled to Earl, Arkansas, which is itself home of kind of the final remaining Chinese-owned grocery store in the South. There was a time in the 1940s, 50s, and 60s where many small towns in Arkansas had 20, 30, 40 Chinese-owned grocery stores. Due to competition from national chains, and quite frankly due to the decline of the population of these small towns, many of those stores are now closed. But one of those stores remains open, Young's Grocery in Earl, which is now celebrating its 79th year of continuous operation. We had the opportunity to interview the proprietor of that store, Charlie Young. And I want to show you just 1 minute of our conversation because I think it shows the vitality of these stores, the important role that they continue to play in the community. Oh, y'all can't hear that, can you? I'm only getting... Can y'all hear any of that audio? Okay. I can try to hold up the mic. We'll see if it works. All right. Y'all can't hear it? Okay, we'll come back. At some point, I would really love for y'all to have a chance to listen to Charlie kind of tell his story, kind of to hear that thick Arkansas accent of his many years kind of working together as a leader of this community. Some other themes that we've highlighted is the really important role that Chinese community members have played as civic leaders. We've had the chance to interview multiple Chinese mayors of small towns. We've highlighted the important role of Chinese entrepreneurship, of cultural preservation, of trans-Pacific connections. You know, sometimes we have this narrative of Arkansas as being isolated, but so many of the families here maintain connections with Chinese communities across the state and Chinese communities in mainland China as well. In an era where I think Asian Americans are still often underrepresented in professional sports, we saw so many stories of athletic excellence among many of the community members we talked to who served as captains of their football team and presidents of their student council. And in stories of the South that so often center on sort of stories of trauma or discrimination, we heard so many stories of joy and creativity and artistic production that I think are vital parts of the history of our state. Unfortunately, this is a history that is quickly vanishing. Many of the community members we spoke to are now in their 80s and 90s, and they won't be here forever to tell their stories. Indeed, there is one specific incident where a community member who we interviewed for this project very sadly passed away. And at the funeral for that community member, their younger siblings were able to read out portions of the interview that they had conducted for our project, to share particular experiences of their kindness, their connection to their community, and the leadership roles that they take. And I think that that speaks to so much of why this project is important and why we continue to hear these stories now into the future. So before I go, I want to just say something very briefly kind of about where we're going. Over the summer, we had 4 student interns who were traveling with us to record interviews, to work with community members, to transcribe conversations and digitize photographs. All 4 of those students have decided to continue working on the project this fall and are hard at work to edit these stories, to create small videos that share just a piece of this rich history. We're all doing this work so that in early 2025, we can launch formally the Arkansas Chinese Heritage Project website, where community members from around the country can hear stories perhaps about their parents or grandparents, or just learn about the rich cultural diversity of our state. We hope to host digital exhibits and GIS story maps, as well as lesson plans for K-12 teachers who are looking to change the way they teach Arkansas history. One thing that emerged from our conversations with community members, however, was that there was a strong desire to have a physical museum, a space on this campus that can collect, preserve, and showcase the rich history of Chinese communities here in Arkansas. And so we're happy that in 2025, in Cheestel Hall, the home of UCA Center for Chinese Language and Culture, we will be launching a permanent installation gallery space where we can showcase photographs, artifacts, artwork, while also giving a touch screen that allows people to navigate the digital oral histories we're creating, and of course provide recognition for the many donors that have made this possible. Speaking of which, when we last left at the Spring Festival, Dr. Zhuang announced that UCA Center for Chinese Language and Culture was generously offering to match up to $5,000 in personal donations to this project. And I'm very happy to say that as of September of this year, this project has attracted over $20,000 in private donations. This work will make it possible for us to continue collecting stories, continue to upgrade our equipment, to provide materials to ensure that we store these materials for the important historical artifacts they are, and continue to have opportunities to kind of share the rich history of Chinese Americans in Arkansas for many, many, many years to come. Before we go, I did want to invite one of the student workers this summer, Max Stacy, who spent time traveling to many of these towns around Arkansas, to share just a minute of her experiences kind of working with Chinese communities and what it meant to her. So thank you, Max.
Hello, I'm Max. I'm one of the interns / student researchers for the project that got our own for the summer. Fortunately, myself and the other 3 students are going to get to continue this project into the fall. I know that it's meant so much to me and to all of us. And most of what I've done for the project is videography and video editing, which I had no background or experience in. I've learned so much about how to use technology, but also about history, about how to conduct an interview, and about how much this history means, not just to Arkansas history as a whole. And I am not from Arkansas, but I've spoken to a lot of Native Arkansans who have said that they never learned any of this history in their Arkansas history classes that I guess are required for graduation here. So I know that not only is this going to be invaluable for my personal learning